My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the greatest sources of disappointment in our lives is that we expect too much from people. We expect them to always be there, to always understand us, to never hurt us, to never leave us. But the reality is, people are people. They are not perfect. They forget, they change, they disappoint. But Allah never disappoints. You see, the more you attach yourself to people, the more likely you are to be let down. You call them, they don't answer. You open your heart to them and they break it. You do good for them and they walk away. This is the test of life. Allah wants to teach you. Don't place your emotional survival in the hands of another human being. Yes, people are a means, your spouse, your parents, your friends, they are blessings. But they are not your source of happiness. Your real source is Allah. When we begin to place our trust and emotional security in people, we unknowingly set ourselves up for disappointment. People, by their very nature, are weak, forgetful, and imperfect. They can let us down, sometimes unintentionally, sometimes even deliberately. But what we often forget is that relying too much on others is not just risky. It's a sign that we've misunderstood the purpose of our hearts. Our hearts were created to connect with Allah first. Everything else is secondary. In our daily lives, we get used to leaning on others. We depend on our friends to listen when we're going through something. We expect our family to support us emotionally. We expect our colleagues to always understand us. And while it's true that Allah has placed people in our lives for support and comfort, the danger lies in thinking that people are the source of our strength, when they are only the means. The moment your heart starts expecting people to fill the role that only Allah can fulfill, you begin to suffer emotionally, spiritually, and even physically. You feel anxious because people are unpredictable. You feel hurt because people are inconsistent. You feel abandoned because people have limits. Allah, on the other hand, is constant. He never sleeps, never forgets, never fails. He knows what is in your heart even when you cannot explain it to anyone. He knows your tears, your fears, your secrets. And He does not judge you the way people might. He does not tire of hearing your complaints. He does not get annoyed when you repeat your problems. Instead, Allah says, "Call upon me, I will respond to you." Surah Ghafir 40:60. That's a promise from your Creator. Who else can make a promise like that and never break it? Tawakkul, true reliance upon Allah, is more than just words we say. It is a state of the heart. It means you understand deeply that no matter how much people care about you, they cannot control what happens in your life. They cannot fix your situation. They cannot guarantee your happiness. Only Allah can. This is why the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught us the beautiful dua. O Sawa, do not leave me to myself even for the blink of an eye, because the moment you are left to your own thoughts, or to the decisions of people, you are at risk. But if Allah is guiding you, no matter who walks away or what breaks down, you will still be okay. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone you love deeply suddenly stops being there for you. Maybe they no longer return your calls, or their presence in your life slowly fades. At first, it hurts. It confuses you. But then you begin to understand. Maybe Allah is protecting you. Maybe He's teaching you that your heart has become too attached to someone who doesn't have the capacity to handle your emotions. Maybe He wants to redirect your love to the one who never leaves, the one who said, "I am near." Surah Al-Baqarah 2:186. You see, every time you go through heartbreak, loss, or disappointment, it is not the end. It is a reminder, a gentle push from Allah telling you, "Come back to me." And if you do, if you really come back, you'll experience a peace that no person could ever give you. You'll realize that people are just part of your journey, not the destination. Allah is the destination, He is the goal. So stop placing the weight of your happiness on people who were never meant to carry it. Stop expecting human beings to fill a hole in your heart that was only designed for divine love. Every time you place your trust fully in Allah, you rise above the chaos of life. You stop living in fear of who will leave, who will betray, who will fail you. Because your heart is no longer in their hands, it's in His. And when your heart belongs to Allah, you become unshakable. You may cry, yes. You may feel pain. That's human. But you will never collapse. Because deep inside, you know, my Lord is with me, and He is enough. People are limited. No matter how much someone loves you, no matter how sincere they may be, their abilities have boundaries. They get tired, they forget, they change. Sometimes they simply cannot help even if they want to. This is the reality of human nature. We were not created to carry the burdens of others endlessly. We are not designed to be perfect sources of comfort or strength. And that's why Allah reminds us again and again in the Quran that He alone is sufficient. He alone is capable. He alone is limitless. When you begin to understand the limitations of people, you begin to free your heart from unrealistic expectations. You begin to realize that no one can truly understand you except Allah. No one can fix everything in your life except Allah. No one can love you purely, unconditionally, and eternally except Allah. People can say the right words sometimes. They can offer their shoulders for you to cry on. They can help you financially, emotionally, socially. But there will come a point, and it always comes, where their help ends, where they cannot give any more, where they move on. And if your heart was completely dependent on them, that's when you feel crushed. That's when you feel broken. But if your heart was with Allah, you'll always have a place to turn. You'll always have a source of strength. You'll always feel that even when the world turns away, there's one who is always near. He says in the Quran, and we are nearer to him than his jugular vein. Surah Kahf 50:16. That closeness of Allah is unlike any closeness you will ever feel with another human being. He doesn't need words to understand you. He doesn't need explanations. He knows what's in your heart before you even do. He is Al-Alayum, the all-knowing. Think of the moments in your life when you really needed someone and no one came. Or maybe someone did, but they didn't understand what you were going through. Maybe they made it worse. These moments are painful, but they are also powerful reminders. They teach you not to put your emotional survival in the hands of people who are just as fragile as you are. They teach you to turn to the one who never fails, who never leaves, and who never misjudges you. When you truly rely on Allah, you find that your heart becomes lighter. The burden becomes easier. You no longer feel as if the entire world needs to understand you or support you. Because deep down you know, my Rabb understands me, and that is enough. Even in acts of worship, Allah has placed Himself at the center of our connection. No one can pray on your behalf. No one can fast for you in Ramadan. No one can repent for your sin, because your relationship with Allah is direct, personal, powerful. And just like your worship is between you and Allah, your emotional reliance should also be between you and Allah. It doesn't mean we don't love or trust people. Islam encourages strong relationships. But the mistake happens when we confuse people with Allah, when we expect creation to act like the Creator. And this is where so many hearts break. We expect consistency from people who are temporary. We expect healing from people who are wounded themselves. We expect mercy from people who may not even know what we're going through. But Allah, He is not temporary. He is not forgetful. He is not weak. He is Al-Waqi, the one we hand our affairs to, the one who manages everything in perfect balance. When you understand this, you stop chasing people for validation. You stop begging for attention. You stop depending on people to keep you whole. Because you realize something incredible. Allah has never needed anyone to help Him help you. He is self-sufficient, and when you call on Him, He responds. Not always in the way you expect, but always in the way that is best for you. He sees the future you don't. Suck. He hears the do's you whisper at night, the tears you hide from the world, and the confusion in your heart that you can't even put into words. So when people fail you, and they will, don't fall apart. Turn to the one who never fails. When someone walks out of your life, don't chase them. Chase the one who brought you into existence, who loves you more than a mother loves her child, who is closer to you than anyone else can ever be. People are limited. Allah is limitless. And the moment you understand that, you begin to live with true peace. The heart is a mysterious and delicate creation. It holds our emotions, our longings, our pain, and our hope. But no matter how much we fill our hearts with the world, people, wealth, status, entertainment, we always seem to find a space that remains empty, a void. And that emptiness cannot be filled by anything or anyone except Allah. This is a truth that so many people discover after experiencing heartbreak, disappointment, or emotional exhaustion. We keep trying to fill that space with things that were never meant to satisfy us fully. We keep looking for peace in all the wrong places. Allah tells us in the Quran, "Verily in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest." Surah Ar-Ra'd 13:28. This is not a poetic statement, it's a divine truth. It means that no matter how much chaos is around you, no matter how uncertain life feels, when your heart is busy with the remembrance of Allah, when His name lives in your thoughts, when His words are on your tongue, you will find a deep, calming peace that no one can take away from you. It is not the kind of peace that comes from having a perfect life, or a perfect relationship, or perfect circumstances. It is the kind of peace that comes from knowing that Allah is with you and that He is enough. How many people do we know who seem to have everything yet they are still anxious? Still unsettled? Still unhappy? That's because peace doesn't come from material things. It doesn't come from being surrounded by people all the time. You can be in a crowded room and still feel lonely. You can be in a successful career and still feel hollow. You can be loved by many and still feel unseen. The peace that lasts, the peace that gives life meaning, only comes when the heart is connected to its Creator. One of the most beautiful things about our relationship with Allah is that it's not dependent on external circumstances. You don't need money to remember Him. You don't need perfect conditions to talk to Him. You don't even need to speak out loud. You can simply turn your heart towards Him, and He listens. He responds. He accepts. He understands what's heavy on your chest without you saying a word. You don't need to explain your pain to Allah. He already knows. He knows what people said to hurt you. He knows the silent battles you fight. He knows the tears that no one else sees. And He tells you, through His book, through His names, and through your own experiences, I am here. Just turn to me. Just turn to me. The remembrance of Allah is not just about repeating phrases like Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar. Though those are powerful, the deeper impact comes when you say them with awareness. When you remember Allah with sincerity, it begins to reshape your heart. It softens you, it humbles you. It reminds you that you are never alone, even when people forget you, even when the world moves on, even when no one checks on you. Allah never leaves. He is closer to you than you. He didn't complain about the people. He didn't blame his circumstances. He turned to Allah and said, "If you are not displeased with me, then I do not care." That was his heart. As long as his connection with Allah remained, nothing else mattered. This is the strength we need to build in our own lives. Many of us crumble when we're rejected or misunderstood. We allow the actions or opinions of people to shake our self-worth and disturb our peace. But the Prophet showed us that even if you are isolated from the whole world, you are never truly alone if Allah is with you. They were tested not because Allah abandoned them, but because He was preparing them. The loneliness and hardship refined their character, purified their hearts and drew them closer to Him. Sometimes Allah removes people from your life not to punish you, but to protect you. Sometimes He allows you to feel alone so that you will finally look up rather than around. There's wisdom in being isolated. There's a purpose behind the pain, and there's a beauty in relying solely on Allah. You begin to realize that your strength doesn't come from how many people you have in your life, but from how deeply you are connected to the one who never leaves. People might misunderstand you, but Allah knows the truth. People may forget you, but Allah never does. People may hurt you, but Allah's mercy is always near. This doesn't mean we cut ourselves off from people or stop forming relationships. Islam is a social religion. We're encouraged to love, to care, to support one another. But that love must be balanced. That care must not lead to dependency. And that support must never take the place of our ultimate reliance on Allah. When you build your heart on people, it will break. But when you build it on Allah, it will remain firm no matter what. So when you feel abandoned, remember the well of Yusuf. When you feel rejected, remember the stones of Taif. When you feel alone, remember the cave of Hira, where the final revelation began in solitude. These moments were not signs of Allah's distance. They were signs of His nearness. They were the turning points in the lives of the greatest humans to walk the earth. And they can be turning points in your life too. Let those moments of isolation be the time you rediscover your bond with Allah. Let the silence become your place of reflection. Let the absence of people remind you of the ever-present mercy of your Lord. Because when Allah is with you, even in the loneliest places, you are never truly alone. When you begin to detach your heart from people and their opinions, their praise, and their attention, you start to feel a deep and liberating peace. It may feel uncomfortable at first, because for so long we've been conditioned to seek approval, recognition, and love from others. We measure our worth based on how others see us, how they treat us, or whether they accept us. But what happens when that approval is withdrawn? What happens when people change, when they misunderstand you, or when they walk away? If your peace was tied to them, it shatters. If your identity was built on their words, you lose yourself. But the moment you begin to detach, you actually begin to rise, because that space in your heart starts to fill with Allah instead. This is not about becoming cold or distant. It's not about rejecting love or kindness. Islam teaches us to be gentle, to be loving, to maintain ties of kinship, and to treat others with compassion. But what it warns us against is becoming so emotionally reliant on others that our faith, our confidence, and our inner peace become hostage to their presence. When your happiness depends entirely on someone else, it becomes fragile. But when your happiness is rooted in your connection with Allah, it becomes stable, enduring, and unshakable. One of the greatest transformations that happen when you detach your heart from people is that your sincerity increases. When you stop performing for others, you start living for Allah. Your worship becomes more genuine. Your actions are no longer about being seen or praised. You stop caring so much about who notices your good deeds and start focusing on whether Allah accepts them. You speak the truth, even if it's unpopular. You stay away from sin even when no one's watching. That's the beauty of detaching from people. It allows you to attach more deeply to Allah. When people are no longer the center of your world, you become spiritual.